strive not to be success, but rather to be of value. Good evening to one and all. Welcome you all to the webinar on quality of work-life balance, stress, and burnout virtual organization. Today, we have with us Alisha Samson ma'am, who is an assistant manager, HR, industry IT. HR for an MNC in the IT industry. She has 7 years of experience as a human resource business partner. Over the years, she has received awards and appreciation from stakeholders for her contribution as human resource business partner to the organization. She holds a master degree in human resource and organization development from the Madras School of Social Work. She graduated as the best outgoing student of the department and also received the General Proficiency Prize. She also served as the president of the Student Senate in WCC from 2012 to 13. Ma'am is a passionate HR professional who believes in the value and impact of the HR function in a corporate environment. In her free time, she loves singing and traveling. Alisha Samson, ma'am, we welcome you.
Thank you so much, Pritika, and thank you so much, everyone. I'm super happy to be here today and to address all of you. I hope I'm audible, and I'm looking forward to your interactions on the chat. So, any questions that I might have, any questions that you might have, please feel free to post it on the chat. So, thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and just happy and excited to be able to talk to you about I think the need of the hour topic, right, which is work life balance and coping with stress and burnout. So burnout is an interesting term for me. It's something that, on a very theoretical sense we learn in college, but on a practical sense it's something very real. So I think it's a very need of the hour, this topic, and I'm just hoping to kind of give you more of a practical insight on these topics. Feel free to just ask me questions, any questions that you might have, and I'm happy to answer them to the best I can. Thanks again for having me, and we can get started. We can move to the first slide, please. Okay, so before we actually get in right to the practical examples and what it actually is, let's look at the simplest definitions for each. Work-life balance, the division of one's time and focus between working and family or leisure activities. So what does this mean? It's basically, what do you give your attention to? So are you able to give your attention to both work and play, right? So we all know the age-old saying of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? So this is pretty much what it means: having equal focus and attention given to both. Stress, a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. Usually when we think of the term stress, it is uh, just think about the last time that you got stressed, right? It's you might have been given a kind of an assignment. Maybe you are stressed about the deadline that you've received for it, or maybe you're stressed about the way that the kind of knowledge that you have for it. What are you going to be able to do to present on it? Those kind of things, right? So stress can be different things, and in the most recent times, it is very evident that stress in a mental state or an emotional state has a direct impact on the health of an individual, right? So this is where also stress plays a very big vital role in whether an employee or a student has a good work life balance. So burnout, right? So burnout is a form of exhaustion caused by constantly feeling swamped. So it's a result of excessive and prolonged emotional, physical, and mental stress. In many cases, burnout is related to one's job. Burnout happens when you're overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to keep up with life's incessant demands. So what is interesting here is, it might look like a lot of words on the screen, but eventually stress is what leads to burnout. And burnout is something that organizations are starting to take a lot more seriously. There's a lot more information on social media everywhere, right? So everywhere we have conversations around this, because burnout is something that can eventually lead to chronic diseases or even death. So this is why, and all of them go hand in hand. Stress, if not addressed, leads to a burnout, and only if you address stress and burnout, you will be able to have a good work-life balance. So this is pretty much what we are going to be discussing in the next, half an hour, 45 minutes. So I hope that the definitions were clear. We can move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so Matson and Ivan Sevic are two authors who have great knowledge on the organization behavior and management. And their definition of burnout is a psychological process brought about by unrelieved work stress that results in emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and feelings of decreased accomplishment. So I'm a great believer in visual learning. For me, I think visual learning is a big tool. I learn best when I see visuals, when I see a video, when I see a kind of a graphical representation of what I'm talking about. And I feel that today in the world that we live in and the way that media exists, I think visual aids are a really good way of getting information and understanding a great depth, probably in a very few a short span of time. So I found this video which I feel is very very relevant, and explains the burnout, exactly what a burnout is. So we can go ahead and watch that, and after this I would like to hear from you what are your thoughts about it, and I'll probably shoot some questions at you. So can we have the video played, please? Perfect. Thank you so much. So quickly, just want to get your responses on the video, and I just want to know what was your takeaway from that. What did you learn from that video? So while I'm talking, I'd like to see some responses on the chat. Hello, is anyone there? I'm not able to see a single response on the chat. Is it just me? Okay, super. So I have someone that says, "Hi, ma'am, from the Department of Commerce." I'm not able to see your name. Okay, okay. Students will reply. Okay, eagerly waiting. Okay, so quickly, let's move to the next slide, please. Can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Aravinda, yeah, she's written overloading employees with work. Absolutely. So that is very evident in the video. But what are the other observations that you made in the video? Like, I want to know the smaller things that you might have seen. Did you catch that in the beginning of the video she goes for a cup of water, and she starts her work super bright-eyed and super chirpy and happy to work, full of enthusiasm, right? So and after she starts getting overloaded with work and she's starting to feel the fatigue and tension, overloading with work will eventually reduce the perfection of work, ma'am. Absolutely, Sonia. Thank you for your response, Aravinda and Sonia. So absolutely, those are good points, and rightly, it's absolutely right what you're saying. Overloading the employee with work, but if you notice in the video, after she kind of gets fatigued and tired, the drink that she has in her hand is a coffee, a mug with coffee, right? So it shows that uh, what she didn't need at the beginning, probably she needs now just to make it through the day. When she started the day being full of energy, uh, where it has led her, right? This overloading of work, it leads her to being dependent on something just to get through the day. So these are the small things that I wanted you to make note of in the video. And it also shows the clock where it shows that she's worked well through the night, right? So it shows the clock at 9 p.m., which means that probably if she started her work day at around 9 or 10 even, that's easily 11 to 12 hours that she's put in for that day. So, so do you think that is okay, to put in 12 hours a day every day? So if we give employees rest at regular intervals, they will do the work with double enthusiasm. Okay, so that's good, Sonia. I'm glad to. I mean, that's. I absolutely resonate with your point on giving rest to the employees. However, you also have to understand that 11 to 12 hours, it's not even okay by law, right? So by law, an individual is expected to work only about 8.5 hours per day to 9 hours at the max. And if I remember correctly, I think it is about 48 hours in the week. That's per the Shops and Establishments Act. So even by law, it's not something that is okay, right? To work for like 11, 12 hours in a day. So the entire video basically shows that the employee, maybe she's a fresher, just like you all, probably some of you are going to start jobs after this, or some of you might pursue higher education, but at some point you might get into the workforce, and maybe she has started Work only during a set of time. Yeah. So she started with a lot of enthusiasm. If you can look at the video, she's so happy and her eyes are so bright. She's just drinking water and she's on time. She's working, and you can see that there are people giving her more work, right? So giving her more work. That's not wrong. That happens in the workplace. You will have supervisors. You will have people come in and kind of add work to your plate. And the more you do well, you get more additional responsibility, which is good. But eventually what has happened is she has uh, it shows that she has only worked for the entire day. She's only been at work. She's not done anything else. And if you see the second part of the video, where she, after she falls ill and she's in the hospital, and you see that the battery is completely drained, and that battery is just a symbolic representation of her charge, right? Like her energy levels. So when they show that the charge is completely low and she is succumbing to illnesses and she's in the hospital, and after that when she returns, you see the second part of the video, they show a lot more focus on family time. She's doing a little bit of gardening. She's sitting and chatting with her family at the table. She's doing gardening. She's taking breaks. So she's a lot more happy because she's spending that time in the day on the things that she enjoys and the things that refuel her. So just take for example a car, right? A car runs on fuel, and it's the same thing with our bodies. We also need some kind of fuel to, we need energy, and which is our fuel to run through the day. And if you see in the video, literally even after she works, and after she spent time with her family, after she has done a little bit of gardening, her battery is actually full because she feels so charged because of all the interaction and the variety of activities that she's had. And because of that, she's you can see that her face is all bright and lit up again, and she's got back the enthusiasm that she had started with. So that is pretty much what a burnout looks like. And let me tell you, this is very, very real. Especially in today's, we'll touch upon it later, especially the scenario of today, right? Like where we're all in virtual spaces, and there's a employees are working much longer hours than before, 11 to 12 hours, more than 11 to 12 hours even in a day. So I think that is this is something that's very real, and it's a very real problem that's happening in many offices, companies. And as students, as you enter the workforce, it's important for you to actually not just know this in theory, but identify. That's why I played the video, because I want you to identify it when you go into the workplace well before, so that you don't get to a point where you experience a burnout. So, in that context, let's look at the four stages of a burnout. Turned on is when you first, you have that enthusiasm, that excitement of accepting a new job, right? A high level of enthusiasm, and you're like super determined to kind of go there and prove yourself. You've learned so much. You've learned this is the background that you have, your degree, all of that is good, and you're waiting to kind of show your strengths in the workplace, right? So this is stage one. Turned off is when you start, you may not realize it, but you start feeling a bit tired. You start thinking, okay, maybe the job that I signed up for is not exactly what I thought it will be, but you kind of just put up with it and you keep moving on. So experts say that this is the actual stage where you need, it's kind of like a red flag stage, right? So this turned off stage, where you start having that sense of fatigue, is the stage when there is a red flag, and this is the stage where you need to turn the situation around. But most often this stage goes completely undetected. So it's just something that we all put up with. Hey, okay, fine, yesterday was a long day at work, so today I'll adjust it and make up for it, or I'll take some rest wherever I can. All of that, we make all excuses, because once you get into the work front, right, one workforce, uh, like I said, when you're excited as a newbie and you want to prove yourself, that sort of becomes the be all end all, right? So, like if you look at the first point, it says be all end all, because it means that's your everything. And someone has written in the chat, me time is important. Absolutely, yes, me time is so important. So even not just in theory, these are some things that whenever you start working, these are some things that you should keep at the back of your mind, to kind of Understand if you're heading there, and turn it around when you can immediately. So wiped out would be the third stage of burnout, where it's more of you start seeing the symptoms. So up until then, maybe you thought it was just tiredness, maybe you just thought it was, like I said, you pulled a long work day. But wiped out is when you start really feeling the effects of it in a physical sense. So up until then, probably you're having an emotional strain, you might talk to a friend, you might talk to family, all of that is good. But when you start experiencing it in a physical sense, right, so like when you have pain in the neck or back, shoulders, and your body, it's like your body is screaming for help. So this is a third stage, a wiped out stage. And this could lead to the fourth stage, which is the burnout stage, where it can actually the physical effects have already manifested, and that can actually lead to chronic illnesses, which eventually lead to heart attack and stroke or even death. And it's really interesting, because these things in theory, when we look at it in college, or when we look at it in on a ppt, or in text, we don't actually understand that it can happen to us. So it's something that we need to look at in a very practical sense, and keep at the back of our mind once we start going into the workforce, and identify these signs earlier. Because at the end of the day, I always say this to everyone: your health is most important. You're replaceable in the workforce. Tomorrow, if something, God forbid, happens to you, uh, they're going to be able to replace you in a week or two. But if something, if something like that would happen, your family is not going to be able to replace you, right? So that's why it is so important for you to take this into your hands. This is not to scare anyone or anything, but I'm just saying the real. I always say this, that the reality is that you're replaceable in the workplace, but you're not replaceable on your personal life, because you are a unique individual. You have family, you have friends, you have a life outside work. So that is something that you have to take in your hands. And the harsh reality is that even though we have, say for example, now I'm a hr in my office, but and my job also is to make sure that employees are happy in the workplace, employees are not being overworked, if employees are working beyond a certain time limit, they are compensated for it as per the law. And if they are being asked to work for too long, they are given those compensatory offs. All of that is the job of a hr, and it comes under our responsibilities. But of course, uh, having said that, while we do our utmost best to make sure that employees are happy, employees are receiving all that the support that they need in any form, right, be it grievance redressal, counseling, or any general queries that they might have, or manager issues, all of it. um, I think the biggest thing is, when it comes to work life balance, stress, and burnout, these are things that no matter what, it's only in your hands. So even if you have a body in the organization to kind of help you, to support you, all of that, the reality, the harsh reality is that uh, they are not going to be able to monitor it on a very individualistic level, because you can imagine there are so many employees in the organization, and it's not possible for one person to be able to understand what exactly is going on in the life of one individual. So while hr, all of the leaders, all of them are there to support, this is a very it's a problem, or it's something that we have to take in our own hands to preserve. So it's something that, as individuals, it is something that you have to focus on yourself. So yeah, so this is pretty much the four stages of burnout, and I hope with the video that you kind of understood it. So let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so like I said, coping with stress again is when probably you're given a task, and you don't know how you're going to complete it. It can be anything. You might be having a different level, different sets of challenges. But let's just look at the kind of ways that you can kind of cope with the stress, and which will help you get a grip on burnout. So I put it as 10 key focus areas. One is to take the first one is to take a good look. Okay, so first you need to understand what is the trigger, what is it that is creating this stressful environment. So is it that I'm getting a lot, is it that the leaders or my boss is too demanding? Is it that the work I'm being asked to play two roles? There's someone who's on leave in my team and I'm also supporting her span, or I'm also doing her work. So you have to identify what exactly is the trigger. What is it is that's causing you to actually overwork and to be overburdened, and to be stressed and have a burnout. So that is one important thing: identify the trigger. Two is to also have a positive attitude, right? So sometimes it's all in the mind. They say that a positive attitude influences your belief system as well, and that in turn also has an impact on the way you react to situations. So always having a very positive outlook, trying not to let the stress get to you, trying not to let any negativity or anything get to you, even if it looks bleak, even if it looks a little stressful, disappointing. Always look at it as a glass half full and not as a glass half empty. So try to stay positive, because that positive energy will definitely translate into your whole body and the way you respond to a situation. And they always say that it's sometimes not even the situation, it's just the way that you respond to it. So always thinking positively helps you cope with it, whatever the stressful situation is, and it might help you to react in a better way. Third thing is something that you need to graduate from, right? So because as students we all are given, of course we have authorities in place, and I'm not saying you shouldn't respect your authorities, you shouldn't listen to authorities. You should, because that's what's going to set you apart in the organization as well. When they know that an employee is obedient, is someone who can be dependable, whom they can come to for work, whatever it is, right? So that is all good traits. But there comes a time when you have to realize uh, whether where you have to realize that you are the one who has to say no. So sometimes people will not understand that your bandwidth is stretched, and you already have a lot on your plate. When I say you already have a lot on your plate, you're already doing a lot of activities and you don't actually have additional time for more. This is something that like I said, it again has to be from you. It's something that you have to take from into your own hands, and you shouldn't be afraid to say no. So when you know that it is something that you may not be able to do, when you know that it is something that you cannot meet, you probably cannot meet that deadline, or like I said, you don't have the bandwidth, don't be afraid to say no, whether it is authority or whether it is someone, your colleague or your teammate or someone junior to you or whoever it is. You shouldn't feel bad to say no. You shouldn't feel bad to say, uh, I may not be able to do it this time, but maybe I can help you in the future, or whatever it is, right? So you can always come up with ways to make up for that if you feel that feel bad to say no. But learn to say no, because that's something that I think all of us struggle at the beginning. But that's something that you also have to really really get used to when you enter the workforce, right? Because if you just keep saying yes, you're only just going to invite more work which you may not be able to cope with. So that's something that you have to take note of. Do not be an isolationist, right? So this is also something. Isolationist is someone who it doesn't really have interest in uh, the rest of the group, or what they think or what they feel or what they want. So don't be someone who's just like, okay, I don't want to get into office policies, I don't want to get into all of that, I'm fine just doing my own thing, right? So just interact with people, because we are all made to have interactions, we are all made to have interactions with people. That's the reason why we are born on this earth, where we have so many people around us, and we're not born in some planet by ourselves, right? So we are born in this earth with people surrounding us. We are born to a family, because that's just how we are built, that's just how we are made, to have interactions with people. And the same goes for in a work environment as well, where you need it's healthy for you to have interactions with your colleagues, your peers. You need to be vocal about you think need to participate in a lot of things, don't isolate yourself from the group. Another thing, this the fifth point, right, in a way that which will help you kind of cope with stress and cope with burnout, is do not be a perfectionist. And this is something that I think I've also struggled with. uh, Sometimes we just want everything to be so perfect, the way that we want it, the way that we have thought about it, the way that we uh, plan it. uh, and everything, like say for example a PPT should have this comma, or this sentence should have this structure, or whatever, right? So these things sometimes bring a lot of unwanted stress while you're preparing for something. So whatever it is, right, like give your best. Absolutely, you can be rest assured that your education will definitely support you. The degree, the knowledge, everything that you have is going to come into play when you're in the workforce. And preparation is important. You definitely need to be prepared, you need to have a knowledge of things, but don't get caught up in the small things that cause unwanted, unnecessary stress. Get organized, like I said. So prepare in advance, make sure that you have your goal, your set of your the task set of tasks, whatever it is that you have to do. So when you're prepared in advance, you won't run the risk of getting stressed, or you won't get run the risk of getting burnout, uh, having a burnout. So getting organized also is very, very important. Delegate and empower your people. So yes, as a starter, as a fresher, you may not have a team under you, but you definitely have teammates. And you are not the one. The entire world does not rest on your shoulders. You have to remember that you are part of a team. You are part of a larger organization. And it's important for you, even if you cannot delegate your responsibilities, maybe it's important for you to actually discuss that with your supervisors, with your teammates, and actually see where someone can help you. A lot of times in organizations we end up doing other people's work, so that can that can happen a lot. And it's important for you to recognize that also, and make sure that the person who owns the activity has to complete it. So that will really, really help you in unnecessarily avoiding taking additional responsibility, and things that do not concern maybe your department. And it will help you focus on the things that you can deliver, and you'll be more enthusiastic and happy to do the things that you've been assigned. Another thing is to be aware of how you feel. So this is, again, it's connected to the next point where you say taking care of your mind and body. uh, it's really sometimes we shouldn't, of course we shouldn't always get too wrapped up in our feelings, but at the same time we also have to be mentally and physically aware of triggers, our moods, and what is it that is affecting you, how it's affecting you, and how you can control it. So it's good for you to dwell on your feelings if it's something that, if you can identify how you can control it, uh, or identify the triggers, and avoid getting stressed over it. So with time, when you start making a very conscious you know when you very, very conscious, and you make it very intentional to look at how you feel, you will be able to kind of adapt to what are the things that are actually triggering you to feel stressed, and all of that. So with time, this is something that you can easily master. And taking care of your mind and body, so this is so important. I think all the more in the workplace, when you're so busy, like with wrapped up in calls, meetings, all of that, sometimes you just forget to even drink water. So always have a bottle by your side. Make sure that you're always staying hydrated and always taking good care of your body. So I have another video where I want to show you also about how about the choices that we make, right, and how it affects us. So again, the ninth point would be to take care of your mind and body. Do whatever it is that you have to do, like a meditation, or anything that you want to do, just to calm yourself, and to eat right, to make sure that you're taking care of your physical form, and your mental mindset. Make sure that you spend that time, because that is going to help you cope with the stress and burnout. and taking time off. So this is another thing that, again, right now in organizations, we definitely encourage employees to take time off. A lot of times, especially with the COVID scenario, employees were not able to actually take leave to travel anywhere and all of that. So now all of their leave balances, everything is as is, and we always encourage employees to actually take that time off, that vacation which was long overdue. This is again something that will help you recharge, refuel yourself, so that you can, like I said, it's not just work that's be all and end all, but you're also giving time to do the things that you like. I'm sure that most of you love to travel, or even if you don't love to travel, I'm sure that at least some time, a breath of fresh air, some time with your family or friends or whatever, will actually do you good. So take the time off. So I think these are the some of the ways in which we can cope with the stress, and also prevent a burnout. Next slide, please. Okay, so coming to this, right? So again, it's pretty much kind of interconnected, work life balance as well, but I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about uh, this. Before we talk about this, let's watch the video. So can we have the video played, please? Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you so much. I'm not sure how many of you could see that video clearly. It was not very clear this when I was watching it here. Somehow it seemed to be. I think the connection was poor. But anyway, just to sum up what you like, what was in the video was basically they showed the same person but with different choices, and what they're trying to say is that the choices that we make affect our entire life. So even if you look at right from the beginning, one side they show the person actually choosing healthy food at the start of his day, and the other side you see a person eating the bag of chips. And they also show on the way to work, he's actually listening. On the good side, they're actually showing exactly good habits make great differences in life. Absolutely, healthy habits will have a great impact in our personal and work life. Absolutely. So they actually show him listening to some either a book or meditation or whatever it is, right? So something productive and something not productive, something enriching. So in his journey even to the work, instead of actually listening to the news or anything stressful or something that might ruin his mood before he actually enters the workplace, he's listening to something that prepares him for the day. And they also show that once he reaches the day, the office, he's only focused on work. He's not on Facebook or on other channels, or getting distracted even when his friend is calling. I don't know if you noticed that his friend keeps calling in the evening to come out, hang out for drinks and all of that. uh, One side, on the bad side, they show that the employee is talking to the person for long during the work time and says he wants to hang out, and getting distracted, and then of course going and actually spending that time in the bar or restaurant or whatever it is. And of course, while all that is good, what they're trying to show is that don't mix that when you're actually working. So it is no harm in you going to a restaurant with your colleagues or anything, but what they're showing on the good side was that when he is working, he didn't have any disturbances, made sure that he finishes the task. And after that, you see when he goes home, he even has time to go to the gym, and all of that. And he also actually makes it to see his friend as well. So these are the kind of small choices, and especially in a workplace, there's a chance that you can get pressured into doing these kind of things. And that's where you have to learn to say no, learn to draw the line, and prioritize yourself above other things. I think as students we have this. I remember in college we have at least one period in the week, dedicated to like a sports activity. It can be basketball, karate, or aerobics, or whatever it is. And of course we have so many music clubs and arts clubs, all of that. So in college you have people, you have teachers, you have a curriculum, you have, it's literally part of your GPA, right? So you have to meet this credit and then you get that credit added to you. I mean, meet this criteria and then you get the credit. In once you move out of college, no one is going to be there to push you to do physical exercise, to eat well, to take up activities, all of that. So if you let it, suddenly you will turn around and you will find, okay, what do I enjoy doing? And suddenly you'll find that you don't have any hobbies. So make sure that from the start, you take up a hobby, and or continue the hobby that you're doing in college, right? So you have to make time for all these things, because nobody is going to enforce it, and because nobody enforces it, nobody does it. But then we start seeing it in our health later on. So I think, coming to the points that are on the screen, how can you ensure a good work life balance? Take a break. Take a break from your work, because you need, even if it's just a few minutes, getting up from your desk, just taking a small walk, a brisk walk, because most of the work that we do, whatever field you're in, at some point you'll have to sit in front of a laptop. So sitting in front of the laptop can wreak havoc on your health if you do it continuously. So make sure that you're taking a break, and it's not just a physical break, but also rest your mind, right? So just rest your mind away from the task that you're working on. Set priorities. Setting priorities is basically you understanding what, so you'll have like a bunch of tasks, and maybe each one has their own deadline, and or probably you have to send all of it in a very short span. try to prioritize which is the task that you need to work on first, and or maybe set deadlines for yourself, even if it's for a short span. Maybe things are due within the 2 days. In those 2 days, try to prioritize whichever task takes priority. And you can do this even by checking with your supervisor or your whoever has assigned the task. You can even get the help of your supervisor to understand, what should I prioritize, help me prioritize this task. So if you prioritize your work, it will help you actually have a good work life balance, so that you're not multitasking and you're not doing all things at once, and getting stressed. Exercising every day. So exercising, like I said, it's something that you are probably used to. You're being forced to do it in college. Some of you might enjoy doing it, some of you might not enjoy doing it, but this is an absolute necessary. This is the one. Our body is literally our home on this earth, so you need to invest in taking care of it, whatever it is. Whether it is you want to make it skincare, you want to make it hair care, you want to have healthy things to go inside your body, drinking green tea, whatever it is, all of that you have to do. And exercising is what will refuel you and give you fresh energy for that day. And it's good to invest in a daily exercise regime, because in the long run it's something that will sustain the body that you have been given. Spending time with family and friends is something which will definitely help you have a good work life balance, because the whole day you will not be dedicating only to work. You will also have that time to interact with your family, interact with your friends, share your experiences, hear from them. Because like I said, we are all built that way, and we need to actually have those interactions to be functional. And that's just how we are built. Take vacations. Again, it's similar to the points that we discussed in burnout, but these are the things that will help you have a good work life balance as well. Taking vacations, maintaining healthy diet habits, like I said, getting enough sleep. So getting enough sleep also is really, really crucial. If working 11, 12 hours a day is not is fine, but then it's not fine, but even if it comes to that, at least make sure that you're getting your sleep in the night. Like I said, pursuing hobbies is something that's very, very important, so that you don't come to work and you don't reach a stage where you feel that that's all you've become. uh, Hobbies is the creative side of you. It's something that will enable you to actually be a more creative person, and that actually being creative actually lets out a lot of stress. Another thing that I believe, that I strongly believe, is not bringing work home. So of course now with the work from home, it's all the more challenging. And I literally I have a couple of desks around, but my main table is in my bedroom because my AC is there. So but I'm trying my best to like get out of that, because it's so we're in a place where right now our work is entwined with our personal life, and that's not how it should be. You should make you should keep the two separate. So even in conversations, of course you can talk about work, all of that, to your family, but don't bring the stress that you feel at work uh, home. So by that, what I'm trying to say is that even if you have gone through something stressful, or even if there is some kind of pressure, only deal with it in that moment, and don't actually when you move on to the next thing, don't actually take that with you. So just leave that stress, that pressure, that whatever it is, the fight or anything, in that moment, and don't actually let it spill over into your other activities. And you can, again, like learning to say no, like I said, it's very important. And scheduling one activity you look forward to for each day. So try to schedule anything. It can be anything. It can be, each of you might have different things. Like some might like to read a book, some might like to watch a video on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever, or some might like to paint, sing, record a song, whatever it is. Just try to schedule one activity that you would look forward to each day apart from your work. Next slide, please. Okay, so I think this is all I had on the three subjects, because I wanted to make sure that it's more practical and combine all the three topics. I wanted to touch upon a little bit. I think we have overshot the time already. So maybe if you all have some questions, please go ahead and put it in the chat right away so that we can maybe take it as soon as possible. And I wanted to touch upon a little bit of the work life after the pandemic. So I think I already spoke about a little bit during my talk, and I said about how it's after the pandemic, a lot of work has come home, and everyone is kind of working from home these days. So everything is intertwined, and that's actually caused a lot more stress on employees, probably students as well. I think what companies are doing is it's no, I mean, it one size doesn't fit all. That's something that we've all learned, because each employee is different, and now having been given the option of working from home, um, employees want that option as well. So they want to be able to work from home as well as not be called to the office all the days. So that's something that flexible work is something that companies are doing to kind of help uh, you know cope with the work. But then that also has its disadvantages as well. So like I said, those are things that we have to take in our control and really draw the line, so that even if we are bringing work home, we know how to compartmentalize it and section it and not let it affect our other activities. Another thing that companies that we look into is the ergonomics. That is, like, say for example, we do a home office support. Many companies are doing this. So where now, because employees in the house, there is some kind of a monetary value or some kind of a support given to actually help you, be efficient in your home. Because now, say for example, look, I don't know if you can see the chair that I'm having. It's an office chair because I cannot use my dining table, and be comfortable and efficient in the work that I'm doing, right? So that's just one example, probably giving a chair, to the employees so that they can work comfortably. And ergonomics is basically just that. It's just studying how the work environment of an individual, whether it is in the office or whether it is in the home, what can be done to actually make it a little bit better. I think also companies are doing a lot to. So, like I said, there are a lot of options in the workspace also for you to join a gym, for you to take health checkups, to do leisure activities, but nobody is going to force you like you have that that credit that you have to earn in college. So nobody is going to force you to take up these things. It's all there, but make use of that. So that's the only thing I can say. And I think we also, like, companies also are doing a lot now to actually support employees in taking their vacation leaves, sick leaves, long leaves, all of that. So work life after the pandemic is a bit crazy for sure. Like I said, no one size fits all, and everyone is just kind of figuring out. Every company is really figuring out their employees and what they want and doing the best in terms of supporting them. But yeah, these are some of the things that are happening currently to actually help employees have a good work life balance, and be efficient in the workplace as well. uh, I think that's all I had, right? So can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, that's it. So thank you so much. That's all I had. Just wanted to touch upon these things, and I think I've overshot the time. Like it's 53 minutes. But thank you so much for your patience, and I hope that I was able to give you some practical tips on what the topics actually mean and how you need to actually face them once you're in the workplace. So thank you. We can take questions now.
Thank you, ma'am. It was indeed a very informative session. It was great listening to you, ma'am. And with those couple of videos, we enjoyed the session a lot. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, shall we move to the Q&A session, ma'am?
Yes, please. Yeah.
First question.
Okay.
What
So
are
I
the
think
challenges faced by the virtual organization during a crisis?
So I think virtual organizations, yeah, this is, I was, expressing that virtual teams is a different topic, but I think some of the challenges that we've faced are more of not seeing employees face to face. not being having that in-person interaction that we enjoy, that we like, because we used to have good team meetings and all of that. So that's something that's being missed. And like I said, the challenges of actually bringing work to the home, and having those interruptions, uh, you know uh, I mean, family kind of, walking in on the calls, or any of those interruptions. So I think the challenge there is drawing that line. Um, that's probably like the biggest challenge that we're having. And also, we do miss the in-person interactions that we have with employees.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question, please. Can imbalance in workload equation cause harm to the employee both mentally and physically?
Yeah, so exactly like what I had said, I think that this can happen a lot in the workplace, where one employee might be on leave and you might be asked to pitch in and share the workload, or cover for that person. So this is extremely, like I said, when we talk about mentally and physically, it just means that if you're taking on things that you can't actually meet, you can't meet the deadline, you can't meet the requirement, that's only going to lead to stress, and the stress is eventually going to lead to a burnout. So it can definitely affect, and what affects you mentally will affect you physically. So it can definitely affect employees both mentally and physically, and that's why we need to be very, very careful and take it in our hands to actually control this.
Thank you, ma'am. That would be very helpful, ma'am. Next question, please. If you were
If
to
you were,
decide the form of
go ahead, sorry.
working on the organization, would you prefer hybrid mode or virtual mode, and why?
I think all of us have been spoiled a little in terms of being given an option to work from home. While there are challenges, and employees do. There are quite a few employees who actually say, "I miss the office. When are you going to open it?" But I think personally, on a personal level, I do enjoy the hybrid mode, where I like to I find that I'm more efficient in the house, because I don't have distractions. But for me, it's I'm able to kind of spend the days that I'm at home working on Excels or PPTs or whatever work that I have to do on my laptop, and I actually use the times when I go to the office to have more in-person connects. So for me, that's the kind of flavor that I like. So I prefer a hybrid mode.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question, please. How are human relations important in our life apart from being important in organization?
Okay, so I touched upon this in my talk as well, right? So all of us are. It's just the way that we are created. We are literally we are not born eyes. We're not made to live on a planet by ourselves, doing the things that we want to. We're literally born into a family. We are born into a society, because that's just the way that we are made, and those interactions are so important. And just take the example, when you sometimes when you're upset or when you feel down and you talk to a parent, you talk to a friend, you automatically feel better, because you can talk to someone, you can share your problems. They might confide in you as well. So I think that human relations are so important. And that's why, like I said also, I mean, it's so important to have that hybrid style, where and again, even in one of the points, I spoke about not being isolated. So it's really, really important for us to actually have human interaction, to have connects with people, and not just stay isolated and do our own thing. So yeah, I absolutely feel that human relations is very important, even in our life apart from the organization.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question, please. How can the quality of life be improved in the workplace?
Okay, so I think as HRs, we play a very important role in this. Um, when you think about what I mean, it's very simple. You just think about what you want in a workplace. So if it were me, when I go to a workplace, I want to have a good, probably a good desk, or a good office space where I can feel productive, where I feel I can now we have these open space concepts, right? So where we're not working in small cabins or in small separate cubicles or anything, where now companies are kind of opening their office spaces, and keeping it in a way where we have interactions with different people, and you don't have we are all sitting in one area together. So that's the kind of environments we have. And I think for me as an employee, if I look at this, right, what is how can it be improved, I would be looking for these things. So I want a comfortable place to work. Of course, things like compensation, I want to be rewarded for the work that I'm doing. I want to know what is the kind of performance appraisal that is happening in the organization. Are they going to reward me for the work that I'm doing? When am I due for a promotion? All these things. Of course, do we have a good cafeteria? So I think rewards and recognition. All these things are things that companies need to focus on to actually help improve the quality of life, so that an employee feels valued in the workplace. And also another thing is a very important thing is for them to know exactly who to reach out to in a time of crisis, or in a time of grievance or harassments, in cases of harassments, all of that, right? So when an employee feels secure to work in an office, that's when the quality of life will be good. So I think these are the things that need we all need to, I mean, employers need to focus on to improve the quality of life in a workplace.
Yes, ma'am. All that matters to improve the quality of the life. Thank you, ma'am. Next question. What advice would you give to an employee who is stressed about a deadline?
I think I would say, first of all, don't be stressed, because half of the, um, I think we just lower our potential and lower our capabilities by just when we just take stress on, and we don't think clearly, we don't think objectively. We can't make good decisions if we only think about stress, or if we are stressed in a situation. So I would tell them not to be stressed, and I would tell them to be very organized and to plan ahead. So if there is a deadline, if it's something doable, like I said, not to be afraid of to say no. If it's something that they cannot do, I would probably say to be vocal and to actually discuss it with the team lead or the supervisor as to what are the options that or how soon this can be returned. Or if it's a case where it has to be done that day, or and it can be, I would advise the employee to kind of approach it in a very structured manner and plan ahead, and go by prioritizing the tasks, and hopefully meet the deadline.
Thank you, ma'am. That was the last question. You have lit up the session, ma'am, with all the session what you have given. Definitely, it will help us to improve our quality life in the workplace. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I hope so. I hope it was a good session, and I hope people, you all got some good points from it. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
A thankful heart is not only the great virtue, but the parent of all the other virtue. It is my deepest pleasure to propose the word of thanks. On behalf of the Department of Commerce, Aided and Self Supporting, Etheridge College for Women, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Ms. Alisha Samson, ma'am, for such an interactive and educational session. We are for your enlightenment grateful to you for enlightening us with your valuable inputs, and I hope through this session, our students have gained thorough knowledge regarding quality of work-life balance, stress and burnout, and virtual organization. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank the management headed by Mrs. Chandra Devi Tanikachalam, Principal Dr. S. Koday, and Vice Principals Dr. D.B. Usharani of Aided Stream and Dr. T. Usha Priya of Self Supporting Stream for their constant support in all our endeavors. We extend our gratitude to Dr. A.S. Saranya ma'am, Head of Department of Commerce Aided, and Ms. Grita Krishnan ma'am, Head of Department of Commerce Self-Supporting. My heartfelt thanks to the coordinating instructors and technical team. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants for their active involvement. Thank you all. Stay tuned for our future session.